Hopefully by now, most of you are starting to return to your sport. And one of the things you can count on being greeted by as you do is a lot of mistakes because, you've been out for 3 months. Most of you haven't been able to really work out. Your timing's going to be off. Your skills are going to be rusty. And how you handle mistakes, not just during this time as you transition back, but when you get back into a regular routine and you're able to start competing again. How you handle your mistakes will really make the difference between the level you perform at, whether you perform at a level closer to your potential or you're way below your potential. I'm Dr. Goldberg. I'm a sports performance consultant and I work with athletes across every sport at every level, and I've been doing that for years now, 37 plus years. My specialty is helping athletes deal with performance problems, overcome fears and blocks, and achieve peak performance. And your ability to manage your mistakes is going to make the difference between whether you reach your potential and you reach your goals or not. And that's what I'd like to talk about today. Okay, because too many athletes focus too much on their mistakes while they're making them and after they've made them. And they actually think this is going to help them correct their mistakes and perform better. And what you need to understand is when you focus on mistakes right after you make them, you're going to set yourself up to make more mistakes. Okay, and it'll be this self-fulfilling prophecy where you make one mistake, it leads to a second mistake, that's going to lead to a third one, and before you know it, you're going to be incredibly frustrated and your performance will end up going down the tube. How do you handle mistakes? Well, first of all, what's the purpose of a mistake? Okay, it shouldn't be to beat yourself up. It shouldn't be to evaluate whether you're good or you're not good. Mistakes we make all the time. Everybody makes mistakes. Pro athletes make mistakes. Mistakes let us know what we did that didn't work at that moment, and they provide us with an opportunity to kind of correct that mistake. It gives us information about what we need to do differently. But there is a time and a place to work on your mistakes. And I can tell you right now, the last time and place you want to be working on your mistakes is when you're in a performance situation and you want to do well. A tryout, an important scrimmage, an important game or race, an important practice. When you're in the middle of an important performance, what you need to do with your mistakes is immediately leave them behind you. And you need to get your focus, your concentration, back in the moment on what you're doing. Because if you focus on your mistakes right after you made them and you're in a performance situation that is critical to you, you want to do well, what's going to happen to you is what happened to this athlete and many athletes that I've worked with, but this specific athlete on the UConn men's soccer program. I was their sports performance consultant for a while, and this was a midfielder who was incredibly talented. Okay, he was really good, but according to the coach, he would periodically have these walkabouts. He'd disappear on the field. And when I sat down and chatted with him, what was going on for him is he'd make mistakes and he'd start beating himself up for the mistakes. The game's going on and he's telling himself things like, I can't believe you did that, what's wrong with you? Coach is going to bench you, all this stuff. When you focus on your mistakes, when it counts, you're going to distract yourself from the flow of the performance, the game, the match, the race. Therefore, you won't be picking up on the subtle, important cues that you need to in order to perform your best. Secondly, when you focus on your mistakes, what happens is you end up setting yourself up to get nervous. You're going to get physically tight. Not to mention, when you focus on your mistakes, it erodes your confidence. And so one of the things we had him do was become much more aware of what he was doing wrong, mistake-wise, much more aware of where his focus was, and we trained him to put off evaluating himself or trying to correct the mistake while you're in the middle of a performance, and to save it for training. And when he was able to do this, he stopped having these walkabouts, these periods of time where he's spaced out. So what you need to take with you is the time to work on mistakes is when you're not under any kind of performance pressure, number one. And number two, mistakes don't mean that you have problems, that you're not good. Mistakes are something we all make. You want to get curious about your mistakes. Okay, you don't have to like them, but you want to, when I say get curious, what did I do that didn't work? What do I need to do differently next time? But the time you want to engage that curiosity is after the performance. If you've been playing your sport long enough, when you mess up, you know it immediately. And in the back of your mind, your hindbrain, your muscle memory, knows how to correct the mistake. So mentally focusing on it and beating yourself up and evaluating yourself for it during a performance, during a scrimmage, during a practice, this is not going to help you get better. So what you want to do is be much more aware of keeping your concentration in the flow of the performance, in the action. And when mistakes come up, make a deal with yourself. Let it go, and I'll work on it later. I'll work on it, in training when there's no performance pressures on me. Now, this is a skill that takes practice. It's not going to happen overnight. You're probably, if you're a serious athlete, a bit of a perfectionist. You probably don't like when you screw up. Who does? But what you need to learn to do is temporarily let it go and get right back in the moment, in the flow of the performance. If you like this video and you want to hear more, subscribe to my channel. Hit that bell icon and it'll let you know when my next video is coming up. Leave me some comments, give me some suggestions about topics you'd like me to cover. Hope your re-entry isn't too bumpy, and I hope you stay safe through the process of it.